Hello everyone, I'm back at the site of the former Hilcote Colliery. Now the reason I'm emphasising the cut is because in my last video I was calling it Hilcote because, to be fair, that's how it's spelt, and I got a rather rambunctious ear-hole bashing from a local landlord, so it's Hilcote. So I'm at the site of the former Hilcote Colliery. Now in my last walk, I'll get Realm Map online up, just have a look. So in my last walk, I walked from left to right on the yellow line, that's the Midland line, that's the new Hucknall Colliery branch, and I walked from here, Hilcote Colliery, to the site of new Hucknall Colliery. What I'm going to do now, if you look at this same image, is I'm going to follow the blue line on the left that comes out of Hilcote Colliery. It comes down into the middle there where there's a kind of wash of blue lines. They're the sidings of new Hucknall Sidings. That's the Great Central, that is. So I'm going to have a little look around there, and then I'm going to follow it even further south on what is there, the main line, the former Great Central main line, and I'm going to follow that under the A38, and then I'm going to just spur off that little blue spur to the left into what was South Normanton Colliery. Now, there's nothing left of South Normanton Colliery. South Normanton Colliery is now Macarthur Glen, or East Midlands Outlet Village, which is basically a Nike shop and a Pizza Express and a Wagamama's and stuff like that. So I'm not finishing a historical walk and explore outside some fashion shops and restaurants. So I'm going to try and find something more historical in the vicinity. I think I might have some up my sleeve. Need to stop me eating like this, and then by the fifth time it's just awkward, isn't it? So when we were here before, we had a look in that middle section through there. There's no remains at all of this colliery, unfortunately, but over here to this side there actually was another plant, which I actually didn't realise until later was kind of like a coke treatment plant, as in coke as in coal, not the drink. There's the bridge. What I'm going to do is I've actually got to get onto that bridge to get up onto that Great Central line, because if you can see where that kind of embankment is there to the left, that was a line coming through there as well, and that's the line we want to get on, but unfortunately obviously that's been filled in. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to walk around here, get out, get up onto that bridge, and then down the other side, just the other side of those trees there. So Hilcote, the village of, these were just fields before the colliery came in 1875. The place didn't exist, so they actually built the village of Hilcote just for the workers of this colliery. Now I parked my car just up the road there and I spotted something. There's a church here. It looks like perhaps a Methodist church, which they normally were back in the colliery days. They tend to have Methodist churches, and I understand why they're religious, because if I was going that far underground and putting myself in that much danger every single day of my life, I kind of want God on my side. But I spotted something, so I'll show you this. You can just see the bridge. You can just see a little portal out there. So obviously the church has seen better days, unfortunately. But obviously there's no coal miners anymore, so there's no coal miners coming to church. But this is just something that I spotted. So this is Hilcote Colliery, but it was known as Bee Winning Colliery. And if you just spot this on the gate, there you go, look at that. BWC, Bee Winning Colliery. There's a nice little remain there. So I'm just going to get up onto the road and then back onto that bridge. So the Blackwell Colliery Company, they opened their Blackwell Colliery in 1874, and they called it A Winning. Now winning basically means if you hit coal, if you've hit a seam, you're winning, which makes sense. So that was A Winning. They opened this in 1875. And then they opened another one up in Alfreton, which is the other way, called C Winning, and I'm pretty sure that was opened around about 1876, 1877. The three of them were built in quick succession. So on top of the bridge, now the reason I'm holding it here is the most famous image of Bee Winning Colliery, Hilcote Colliery, is from basically here. And you can actually see in the photo, if I can keep my hand steady, these these capstones of the bridge, you can see them in this image here if I just overlay that. So you can see just what the colliery looked like, and now obviously it's, you know, it's beautiful, but nature's had it back. Okay, someone's making a racket from the council. I'm on that access road now, and it's going to join up eventually with what was that spur of the Great Central. I wanted to do this earlier in the week, but I'll level with you, I've had sort of man flu. Anyone that's got young kids or had young kids will vouch for me, I'm sure, that they are basically little plague rats, aren't they? So the two of them, they got poorly, and there was me thinking, oh, I can take it. No, they took me clean down. So this is basically the second time, no, sorry, this is the third time I've left the house in 5 days. It's actually nice to get some air. Anyway, this was part of the Great Central then. The Great Central was an incredible railway. It was the brainchild of a guy called Edward Watkins, and it was built in 1899, which meant it was the last main line into London. Obviously there's been, you know, railways built in recent times, but it was the last, you know, major main line of the railway era, and it was built to some incredible specifications. The guy was a genius, a pioneer. So all the bends were built to a real minimal gradient, so that it could be high speed the whole way from London to Manchester. It had all the bridges were built to European specifications, because the guy, even in 1899, had this dream of a channel tunnel and going through into Europe and joining the railway network of Northern Europe, which obviously, do you know what I mean, they laughed at him about, but here we are in 2023 and we've had a channel tunnel for a couple of decades at least now. So a real pioneer. So we're following this now. Hilcote Colliery is behind us there. That went in 1964, so quite an early one, which is obviously why there's no remains at all. Anyway, Great Central Railway went in 1966, but it kind of, like, it had lost its mainline high-speed express services pretty early, and so it's sad really, because like I say, it's built to such high spec that in the end it basically ended up surviving off of these collieries, off of the East Midlands colliery fields of Nottinghamshire and Derbyshire coalfields, and Yorkshire of course as well, and Leicestershire actually. So this kind of whole region, it kept it going. But it's sad really, because like I say, it had so much going for it. And even now when they're trying to build these HS2 and stuff, they're using a lot of the old track bed, or at least they were trying to before they cancelled it. Use a lot of the old track bed because it is the Great Central. And I looked at it, okay, so you've got this amazing railway line, all built to a level that you can be crazy high speed, and then all you're doing is you're basically just using it for colliery traffic, pretty much. And it's like having Pele, but playing him at left back. Like, Pele will do you a job at left back because it's Pele, but man, what a waste. It's quite hard to identify exactly, but I'm looking at the telegraph poles, and generally they tend to follow the line of railways. There's plenty of them on the Great Central main line going further north from here, up towards sort of Heath, and then even up then towards sort of Rother Valley Country Park. If you look at the track bed, it's followed by telegraph poles, so that might be me sort of getting 2 and 2 together and making 485, but I'm going with it because I ain't got much choice. It's either a field or a hedge. Now, when I did the last walk and I fell over nearly at that former viaduct to the Great Central where it went over that walk I was doing, there's a comment on that video from a guy called Richard Harris, which I'm guessing isn't the real Richard Harris, like the original Dumbledore, but he said that actually when I get to this bit just before Hucknall Sidings, do a left onto that little bit of Great Central main line and have a look, because there's some tracks still there, which is crazy to me if it is, because that was taken away in 1966. So I am going to have a hunt for that, Richard, and I hope you're not just having me on. Okay, so I'm skirting around the edge. Apologise for the wind. See that hedgerow in the middle of the field? That's the Great Central main line there. So down here I'm seeing sleepers. There's some sleepers there, look. They're concrete ones, so they're obviously more modern. This whole site here, the lines come across and it's going to join up there where those buildings are. That's the new Hucknall Sidings, but I want to try and find this track. Got a bee in my bonnet about it. Again, look, there's another sleeper there, another concrete sleeper. Look, they're dotted around. A lot of them are broken up, but they're dotted around all over here. Give up on the sunglasses. So in my last video, so I walked that yellow line, like I pointed out earlier, that went to down to New Hucknall Colliery. But actually, when the Hilcote Colliery went, they took that bit out. So actually what the trains had to do was come out of New Hucknall Colliery onto the Great Central Spur that end, come into these New Hucknall Sidings, and then out onto this spur that we're walking on now, and then back onto the Midland line at what was Hilcote Colliery, and then on there. Which I don't know why they did that, because it just seems like a bit of a faff. For what real gain, I don't know, but I'm sure that, you know, someone will be able to tell me what reason they did that. See, look, there's more sleepers there. This again, there's a sleeper, look. It's just left discarded, look at them all. They've even got chairs on them, that one. Wowee. Look at that, this whole area. It just looks like a bomb's gone off. And then they've just gone, oh, I'll leave that. It's crazy, really. So much going on here. Wow. I'm going to follow it up to try and get on to that main line. But look, you can see all that brickwork look embedded in the mud. Wow. There's more big sleepers, big concrete sleepers up there. There's another one there, look. And you can see from all these marks, look, there's people come up here, obviously. I guess it's sort of motocross. Little chicken chaser, bikes flying about. I'm not sure what that is there. It is a little bit like the apocalypse. There was plenty of buildings, clearly. That looks like a couple of pieces of track sticking out there as well, look. Just a final bit on Edward Watkin, the great central genius. He died penniless, as they seem to always die penniless, don't they? He basically wanted to build an Eiffel Tower in Wembley Park. Wembley Park obviously is now like the home to the English National Stadium. But in those days it was a fancy estate, country house, big white country house. And he tried to build this Eiffel Tower that was known as Watkins Tower, and in the end Watkins Folly. And there was too much subsidence that basically never finished it, and it bankrupted the guy, and he died in poverty, which is sad. It's a graveyard for sleepers, look. Sticking out there as well, look. Just poking out. This is incredible. Right, let's get up onto that main line then. I've got to say, it's not disappointed so far in terms of remains. I was expecting to kind of skirt through this bit, if I'm honest. Look at that big pile there of sleepers. Look at this. But there's wooden sleepers there just rotting away. There's all these concrete ones. Look how many there are. It's unbelievable. They've all got chairs on them. These have been sat here since the 1980s. Absolutely unbelievable. Look at that. It is a grave for sleepers, isn't it? R.I.P. Okay, I'm going to try and get over then onto this Great Central main line section and see what I can't find. So I'm on the track bed now. I'm actually heading back away from New Hucknall Sidings just for a second, just to try and get towards the top of that Great Central Viaduct. I mean, this is... Are we looking at ballast now? It looks that way. Oh, blinking you would miss it. There it is. Can you see that track there? There it is. It's still on the sleepers, look. Wow, look at that. So we're actually on a section of the Great Central Main Line, and it's just randomly sat there. Richard Harris, you were right, mate. Thanks for the heads up, man. I appreciate that. That's incredible. That's why I'm always asking for tips and stuff from you guys. Thanks so much. Richard, I'll buy you a pint if I ever meet you, mate. That for an embankment. So there's the Great Central line going through there, bang. Okay, so let's head back. I'm proper chuffed with that. And the sun's back out, so the glasses are back on. I'm out of breath now, like clambering. I'm gonna walk now to the main site of Hucknall, New Hucknall Sidings. That main site is now just all industrial buildings, but there is a pathway to the side of it. So I'm gonna skirt down the side of that. I'll put up some photos as well of what it looked like. And I'll skirt down the side of that, and then we'll come to this bridge that goes under the A38, which is another beautiful remnant of the Great Central Railway. They're not letting up, look. Still more and more of them. There's loads of remains where they've obviously just dug this whole area up in the last few, well, years, I'd say. They're obviously planning something for it, but I'm gonna have to kind of clamber over this, unfortunately, to get out. But yeah, look, that looks like the top of a railway bridge, doesn't it, actually? But if you look at old photos of this site, I'll put a photo up now, you should be able to make it out. There's a footbridge, and I reckon that's what that little capstone there was off. That footbridge there. So I'm just skirting down the side of this industrial estate now, all the way. This site here, which is all the vans and lorries and stuff, this was the New Hucknall Sidings. And when the Great Central, something blinded, I'm not wearing them. When the Great Central went in 1966, they took the two middle lines out, which are the Great Central main line. They took them out and they left the sidings either side. So the sun's going to stitch you right up there. But you can see the embankment's getting bigger to the side, and when you look at the old photos, you can see that these embankments were really big, and actually this is started to be filled in here. It gets filled in a little bit more further down as well. I'm on the industrial estate now. As you can see, look, industrial estate, everywhere you look though, look. Little remnants. Right, the less said about how I got through that bramble, the better. But let's just say I've got a muddy bum. There you go. There's our first remain then. So this here, behind me, this was all New Hucknall Sidings, and the pictures that you can see, we'll see this on the left here is a big embankment. Still a bit of an embankment, but not really, because it's been filled in so much. Oh mate, I'm out of breath now. And like I say, my backside is not the best colour. So there you go, look at that. Okay, now, what I'll do, let me get stood on top of this big pile of rocks here so I can at least collect my thoughts. Okay, I've got something in my eye as well. So that behind me, apologise for the wind, that's New Hucknall Sidings, that is. That was a wash with sidings coming out of Hilcote Colliery, coming out of New Hucknall Colliery, which is just in that direction. Now I'm going to turn you around for the piece de la resistance. Look at this. This was the Great Central main line, and you can see there just how much they filled in this cutting and just how deep it was. So what goes over the top of there is the A38. Now I've driven over this, oh, I'm bleeding now as well. I've driven over this goodness knows how many times, and it's just, you know, it just looks like a concrete bridge. And you look either side and you can see it drops down the other side, so the sort of railway boffin in me says, oh, you know, that's definitely a railway line. But I didn't have a clue about this until I saw the Wobbly Runner's video that he did with Phil on this some time ago, last winter I think, and I was like, mate, this is amazing, look at that. You wouldn't know, because if you drive over it, obviously it's been expanded, because it's gone from being an A road to being a big dual carriageway. So you can see, look, there's the other carriageway there. But in the days of the Great Central main line, it was simply, you know, a double road, one carriageway each side. So that's all they needed. But look at the work that's gone into that. There's the blue brick. Wow, that's amazing. And this here is the Great Central main line. If I got £1 every time I said the Great Central main line today, I'd have a couple of quid, wouldn't I? Okay, so I'm going to follow the main line down. Oh man, a chap's just said hello to me and I didn't know there was anyone there. I literally just jumped out of my skin. That's quite funny. Okay, so I'm going to walk down this, and then in a bit I'm going to spur off into what was South Normanton Colliery. Now, South Normanton Colliery went in 1951, so relatively early, but it's very famous because of a disaster that happened in 1937. 8 people were killed in an explosion underground, which is, you know, obviously dead tragic. But I was looking at it and I was thinking, having done a lot of these colliery walks and seen how many other disasters there've been, and believe me, there's been plenty, and there wasn't so much, you know, fuss about it, like that there's a big memorial at the shopping centre and all that sort of stuff. And then it made me think, well, actually most of those disasters were like Victorian times, whereas this was 1937, so I mean, it's pre-Second World War, so it's still a long time ago, but it's within people's living memory, or at least people's memories that have been passed on from the generation before. So it's more fresh, isn't it? It's more raw, and it would affect the local community. Okay, I can see MacArthur Glen now, so like I say, it's a big shopping centre. So I'm going to go off in a minute and follow this spur. I'm pretty sure if I've done my sums right, there should be a bridge somewhere here, which I can spot in some of the old photographs of trains going along this main line. You can see it passing over a bridge. It's just finding it. Okay, this isn't a well-trodden path at all, but the embankment's starting to grow. Now I'm pretty sure that tree line there, that's actually the spur that I need. But I want to find this bridge if I can. It's just a case of where to look. Probably, again, picked the wrong time of year to do this. Quelle surprise. Oh, hang on, I can see brickwork. Right, let me get down there. I know I said like the less I should say about that bit back there, the better. I stacked it, but I wasn't filming because I thought I needed both my hands. And I did. Not that it did me a lot of good. And I proper stacked it, and now I've got like needles, like pine needles and stuff actually in my feet. Okay, so here we go. Look at that. Now if I put up a photo taken off that bridge we've just gone under, the beautiful lattice bridge, you can see this, you can just make this out, this bridge here. There you go, look at that. Double track line, thundering down to London, thundering up through Sheffield into Manchester. Amazing. And there you go, you can just make out just how big that embankment is. So that carries on, not for very long. There's a little road that dissects it, and then it just goes into fields and private land. This tree line is where I want to be walking. So that's where I'm going, those buildings. You can see the tree line, but that's not a walkway, is it? And to be fair, Phil did tell me that actually, Phil that I do obviously a lot of these walks with, he did tell me this was not going to happen. This was that Crystal Palace footballer again, Sonogo. So I'm not actually sure where to go from here, if I'm honest, because I can't walk that. This is all fenced off and going into some form of private land, I think. I'm going to walk until it tells me not to, because I just need to get up to MacArthur Glen, and once I'm there, I'm going to try and find something more historical at the end. But like I said earlier, might have something up my sleeve. Just in a field next to it now, there's a little gap I can get into, and look at that there. There's a little post, look. So this was the entrance then, up until 1951. I'll try and walk as far as I can, but I think the computer's about to laugh at me again. Yeah, I mean, do you know what I mean? Could do with some stilts really. As you can see, these are the original posts, look there, the concrete ones. And then it went bosh into the colliery, but obviously the wall there, big shopping centre. So I'm going to clamber up there into the car park and round. Okay, so there's East Midlands Outlet Village. I've come out of it now. There is big shopping complex. Now what's this, I wonder? As I said, sorry about the noise, that's the A38 smashing past. As I said, I'm not ending a historical explore at an outlet village. I refuse. It's against my religion. Instead, I'm going to walk into something called Castle Wood. Now this is a little wooded area right to the side of that East Midlands Outlet Village. Now what I'm trying to find is a moat, because this here was the site of Pinxton Castle, otherwise known as Wynn Castle, W-Y-N-N. And this was built just at the start of the 12th century, around about 50 odd years, 60 odd years, to hazard a guess, after the Norman invasion, Norman conquest of William the Conqueror. It don't look like much, it's just a wood. Oh, nearly fell over. Where in this wooded area there was a moat that went round the castle, a Mott and Bailey castle, as they all were basically. Oh, squelchy. And also there were 5 fishing ponds built here. Now I don't actually know who lived here or who owned this castle, but when you see some of the other castles like your Codner Castle and your Horsley Castle, which we're going to go and have a look at in the next video, or maybe the one after that, because it's right next to a railway line, the name William Percival comes up often. William Percival was a geezer that I'm pretty sure was loyal to William the Conqueror, or was loyal to the descendants of William the Conqueror, and so was rewarded by being given castles. Now I found the moat, so here we go. This is the moat, and that mound there, that is Pinxton Castle. Now there were stonework remains here up until around about the 16th century, I think, pretty sure, and then that was used to make the spire, I think, of a church down in Pinxton. So I'm coming onto the site now of the castle. So this was it, and there you go. Look, you can see quite a moat. There's still water in there, and it went round the edge. Moat goes all the way round the edge, round the edge, round the edge, and this was where the castle sat. Pride of place in the middle. So there you go, pretty random place to end a railway walk, but like I say, I wasn't going to end it outside the Haribo shop. Not having it. So what have we done? We started off at Hilcote Colliery. We followed the Great Central spur joining up onto the Great Central main line. We had a little look around there. We found an absolute bucket load of sleepers with chairs sat on them as well. We found that piece of track that Richard Harris, aka Dumbledore, had told us that we would find. Magic. And then we followed that up the side. I fell over on my bum. Fortunately not on film. We went under that amazingly beautiful lattice bridge that goes under the A38 that I only know about, like I say, because of Wobbly Runner. I'd urge people to follow his channel, because it's quite funny. People that get involved in this sort of stuff, they're dead precious a lot of the time. It's all about my videos, mate. Watch everyone's videos. Wobbly's videos are great. I've not met him, but obviously I do these walks with Phil, and Phil does walks with Wobbly, and he speaks very highly of him. Paul, his name is. I just keep calling him Wobbly. But yeah, the Wobbly Runner is the channel. Very good channel. And so we went under there. I had the life scared out of me by a homeless chap who was very nice, very friendly. And then we followed that little, well, we didn't, did we? Let's be having it right. Walked in a field next to that spur. And now here we are at the 12th century Pinxton Castle, and I'm getting very muddy. I've just realised I've not eaten yet either, so I'm going to go home and have some grub. Hope you've enjoyed that. Pretty random, but I've enjoyed it. Please comment below with any suggestions or any ideas and stuff, because I absolutely love that. And I'll see you next time. Have a great weekend.